Hello, my name is Alun, and today I'm playing another in a series of sessions of my own PbtA game, Eotenweard, game in development. This is by way of a long playtest, and we've already tweaked a few things, and we will tweak something else today. This game was organized, as is the series and just about all my games, via the Open Hearth gaming community. If you don't know about the Open Hearth gaming community, please search Open Hearth gaming community and come and find out about us. I'm not going to introduce the players. We'll get into the characters as we see them. Just to say that we are playing with a set of safety rules and with our community within our community guidelines, because we think our table culture is great. And you want any more than that, go back, look at an earlier session. So last time we left it on a cliffhanger. The situation, as I understand it, is quite complicated. I wrote it down. Two of our significant NPCs, the nasty priest of God, the Christian priest Mangus, and a pious warrior called Rin, appear to be in cahoots. They appear to be plotting, in cooperating to create the impression that Mangus the priest has seen off a demonic invasion when his church was burned down with a smell of brimstone and blue flame. And the reason that they are in this together is that they have convinced the Lady of Brangarw, the Lady Becca, that if this could be promulgated, if this became a story that was told, then not only would Mangus have a chance of becoming a saint, but also that it would put the village on the map and money would roll in from pilgrims. The bit that's confusing a little bit is that while Mangus believes in the Christ God, we've got good evidence that Rin actually has some pagan sympathies, because he has a tattoo, a pagan tattoo, that is also to be found, with a little bit of investigation, beneath the dirt of the church floor that is now being rebuilt. And we think that that connection is because he was a pagan, he was able to identify for the priest a herb in a local bog that, when chewed, developed a degree of euphoria, narcotic euphoria, and Mangus is feeding that manna to the villagers to give them enormous energy to rebuild his church, but also to demonstrate their religious fervor. I think that's our backstory. Rin has disappeared on a horse, in theory at least, to get some warriors to back up our group of heroes. Who knows what will happen about him, but I do have a hard move on the shelf. But we pick up at the point where Cadoc, our sword of God, our firm in the Christ God warrior, confronting the priest, Mangus, because they're having a dusk ceremony. They've got the roof on the church. The walls aren't completed yet, but they've got the roof back on the church, and they're having a service of thanksgiving. And there is Mangus, the priest, behind his makeshift altar. And there is the Lady Becca and her spouse Rhiannon in some big chairs they brought over from the hall. And beside them is Benus, the storyteller, and all the villagers in the body of the church. And our heroes are just lurking to one side of the altar, as I remember, and that is where Cadoc marches. Cadoc marches up to the priest and confronts him. And the important thing about this confrontation is that Cadoc has been told by God to defend this priest. The gods, they are fickle. So we got to that point. Cadoc, you defied God.
And no, said, I did not. It was a test by God, because this man is clearly an enemy of God. So I'm not defying God. I'm facing the test. And
well, yeah. God seemed to think he was worth defending, and you're not defending him.
Well, he's an enemy of God.
Well, that's that clearly that is what the other half of your psychotic personality tells you.
Yes. I know that Jesus says, "Turn the other cheek and love thine enemies," and I will love him as soon as I've defeated him. I mean,
and I think there was an appeal to Lady Becca to kind of turn away from all of this, and that I think is where we pick up. Because Bennis, the storyteller, is saying, the bleeding hands of these hardworking villagers, just signs of stigmata, more signs of their faith. So that is, I think, where we left it. So Cadoc has made this declaration. Mangus has castigated him. Let me go to Solinus. Solinus, our rogue. What are you, our slightly shady character with a difficult past? What do we see you doing?
Well, Solinus is the one who made that appeal to Lady Bella, and Bennis stepped forward and held stigmata up, and I imagine several of the other villagers began to point and kneel and pray, and that Solinus will look to. Well, I think I'm still on that miss, right? So I think that I'll be pushed out of the way by the villagers as they come to go around the thing, and I'll be like back in the crowd.
Hallelujah! We are, there is clearly they've been given some extra mana this evening, and they are high as kites and full of fervor. So let me go next to Fynn. Solinus has been kind of sidelined as the villagers surge towards the front of the church, praising Mangus and his blessed status. What do you do, Fynn?
And Cadoc has just recently confronted him, right? But so what do we see? Do we see Cadoc just pushed aside as well?
No, I think Cadoc is still in that space between the altar. Behind the altar is Mangus, and Cadoc is making this declaration, and sat there is the lady and her spouse. And then the villagers have surged forward when Solinus, said what he said, supportive of Mangus. So that leaves you and Black Jell just to one side of the altar, just in the shadows.
I think I'm going to make another attempt at Lady Becca from the behind. So so I think Fynn saw the Solinus's attempt to move Lady Becca, and I think Fynn is going to try to follow up and see if he can convince her and Rhiannon. So I think he's going to approach Lady Becca.
And what do we? Because there's quite a hubbub now. The fervor has gone up a notch. And so you go through the crowd, you get to the kind of large seats where Rhiannon and Lady Becca are seated. And what do we hear you say?
I think Fynn says, "The crowd is out of control. These are not your people, my lady. They've been altered by the priest."
I think that clearly they are hyper. Let's have you convinced. Roll plus subtle.
Now, would this be a time that I could potentially use the new move that I just got? I don't know.
Oh, it might be. Which one have you taken?
I've taken fascination from the Fae.
Right.
And so I think it's about convince, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so yeah, it is, and that would add advantage to that convince. So you kind of go in front of her and just put your hands on the kind of arms of her large chair and just look in her eye when you say this. So let's do fascination first then. So roll plus soul.
All right. The roll is here. And so that's an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
Which means that you have 2 hold. to fascinate her, and fascinate gives each use of that hole grants you advantage on convince them. So now you're rolling 3 dice to see whether she she is convinced.
She is convinced by this, yes. And so yeah, boring my eyes into her. Let's see, 3 dice, and okay, well that didn't help, but it's a 7. It's a straight 7.
It's a 7. They choose one. It takes more time than you'd hoped. They insist on doing it their way. They will need someone else's help. They ask you to do something first. I think she kind of sees that the situation is getting out of control. I'm not sure she necessarily buys your message that somehow he's got a grip on them, because she probably thinks that he has a legitimate grip on them.
A legitimate grip on him, yes.
But I think that she does say yes. Bennis, call them to order. She needs somebody's help to do it. So Bennis is going to try and, because he's got a oratorical voice. While that's going on, Black Jell, what are you doing?
I'd like to scan the crowd and try and sort of work out what's probably going to happen next.
Okay, so it sounds like look about you.
Indeed.
Yeah. Roll plus sense. Oh, which I
Will,
see you have improved.
Indeed. Will, can you roll me 2 dice?
Sure thing. That is 8 plus whatever you've got in the stat.
Plus 3, so that's 11.
Wow. Plus 3. That's the way to boost a stat. So plus 3, I think then that you can, you want to know what's going to happen. I think
what might happen next.
I think what might happen next is it is quite possible that Mangus can whip this crowd up to a state where they at least try to tear Cadoc limb from limb.
Okay, well, let's fuck this. Walk in, and I'm going to twat Magnus around the back of the head with my hidden cudgel.
Well, you can do that next, because that was your assessing the situation. Because I want to go back to Cadoc, because I think that is what's shaping up here. He is roaring condemnations at you, Cadoc. That you are heretical, you are no true follower of the one true God.
Yeah, well, I'm punching him.
Lean across the altar and punch him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not using the sword, but I'm punching him because I will say, and I will say this to I will punch him mainly, and I will say to the crowd, just to make a point here, do not follow false leaders who will lead you into the arms, into the embrace of hell. For your immortal souls are in peril here.
Well, let's see how punching him goes.
Yeah.
And see whether that turns into an opportunity to talk. So this is confronting him.
Yep.
So you are rolling with steel.
Yep.
And go ahead.
And he is an enemy of God.
You are declaring your enemy of God.
Yes, and that means that I have to, what can I do? I roll with advantage when I confront him. That is nice.
So 3 dice, take the top 2. I only saw 2 of them move. I think the bottom left one didn't. I've
forgotten the one. Okay, so that's better. That's a 10.
Why on earth did I point that out to you?
I saw it. I would have pointed it out myself.
So look, I will tell you that he has a couple of defenses. Mm-hmm. One is his crucifix mm-hmm. is a defense here, because it gives him a bit of authority. And I think his second defense is he thinks of himself, and he believes, the village believes, that he's God's anointed. So I think that trying to punch him is having a go at God's anointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a success on a 10. Mm-hmm. When you try to say which one you roll, right. On a 7+, the defenses are raised. So this rather punctures his his image, because God's anointed shouldn't be able to be punched out, should they?
Mhm.
And on a 7+, I say one thing: they use one of their powers if they have one,
Ooh.
and you punch him, and do we get a bloody nose and a spray of blood?
No, it's more like a Bob. He just stumbles back and loses the track of his words. That's what's going on here.
And he kind of looks to the skies and he says, God, Lord God above, defend me from these unbelievers. And in a moment we'll find out what happens. But on a 10+, now he's not trying to hit you at all. That was entirely out of the blue.
Okay.
So on a 10+, choose one. Deflect their attack. Well, there isn't one.
Mhm.
Force them to where you gain advantage. That sounds like what you've just done.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. That seems like maybe I've pushed him a little and he stumbled and he's sitting while he's doing his calling to God, which makes him look a little less intimidating.
Fine. Black Jell, you were already in motion, so I'm going to come to you next. With taking the cudgel out of the shillelagh out of your gown. Now, how are you going to? Because the crucifix is a holy symbol. It does have authority. I think the fact you're a loon, I let you use anything to remove his authority, or some of his authority.
Well, I think because I literally did just pull this out and I'm going to whack it out of his hand, so it seems quite subtle, really. I mean, it would be easy to say roll sense +3, but no, I think it is quite a subtle move.
It
because
is
it's a hidden cudgel, so it just comes out and tries to smash this out of his hand.
So he's raising the crucifix to God, and you whap his wrist. So yeah, go ahead.
Will, 3 dice, please. Highest 2.
Hang on, where's the third one coming from?
I got advantage from look about me.
Oh, you did. Oh gosh, 11+. Well, who cares?
No, plus nothing. It's subtle as a 0.
So on a 7, the defense is erased as so. Yeah, what do we see? What do we see this crucifix?
Well, I think it is a blunt force trauma to his hand, which causes him to drop it under the altar, sort of thing, as he goes, ow.
Fine. I think that he takes the opportunity to flee. He scrambles away. There's an arch behind the altar that leads into the tower, which is the most complete bit of the church. So he flees into the tower. But on a 10+, you also choose one. There was no attack on you. Force them to where you gain advantage. Draw all threats, menace, no. Sacrifice an item of gear to block. I think you're probably at advantage if you pursue him. Or he's at disadvantage, relatively speaking, to the group of you. Solinus, what do we see of you? Because you're kind of in the crowd now.
Yeah. I mean, how did the crowd react to their priest being struck?
I think there's probably a howl of anger because they are that hyped up.
But I did take the advantage from him, right?
You did. Yeah, no, that's why they're not already tearing you to pieces. Now you've bought yourself some time here.
Then I think that staring at their crazed eyes, and their howls, and perhaps a couple of them, like begin to yell like angrily, like step forward and raise their hands, and I can look around me and my eyes catch with Fynn on the other side of this crowd, and I can see what Black Jell saw seconds ago, that we could be torn apart by this many people no matter what, right? And I will raise my hands and I will go, here's a false prophet. You must stand in the eyes of God. And I will try and close my eyes and try and I will grab hold of that woodcutter, who I think is burly careless of his wounds and he's about to come and grab hold of me and tear me apart. And I will use my gift finally and get to roll with soul. And I'm going to try and I think this is me, I guess, trying to confront them with my ability by like, it's a healing ability, right? So you get where I'm going with this, right? Like cleanse him of the misfever, this mania.
Yeah, yeah, no, that works for me because he's got a kind of woodcrafter's adze in his hand. You know, he's come for a bundle here. So yeah, pain's balm. Try to remove his pain in this sense. Yeah. So yeah, roll plus soul to invoke your gift. Oh, sorry, roll plus favor. Beg your pardon, not soul.
Only. I mean, they're both pretty bad, I think. Can never roll a dice roll on this. So that would definitely be a -5, I think, on that one.
Okay.
Tempted as I am to have this escalate into masses of entranced villagers that we can't fight back with because they're innocents in this. I will help myself, I think.
Fine.
And how do I invoke my calling as a rogue? You know what? I will literally invoke my calling as a rogue. I will yell it out to the people. I will say, I was once lost and I was once led astray, but the Lord has given me the power to heal you and to heal this disease that has taken your minds and your souls. And yeah.
Oh, you've got a debt, which will knock another one off your favor for next time, but and you can re-roll 1 or 2 of those dice.
I'll re-roll 2 and watch me fail.
Oh, the 3 didn't roll.
No, well, it was a 2, wasn't it, that I re-rolled?
Yeah, so now it's a 1. So you could.
Oh, I can re-roll both of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I'll get a 6. Even then, it won't be in favor. I did get a 6.
Look at that.
7. That's 7.
Lo, the Lord does work in mysterious ways.
Yeah, that's 7. Would not be down to a 6. So if I asked for help from Fynn or depending on who we think is most fictionally appropriate.
I think Fynn is nearer the crowd. Black Jell is behind the altar. Cadoc was focused on the altar, I think. So Fynn, I think, is the logical person. What do you think you can do to help in this circumstance, Fynn?
What I'm thinking is, so Finn's just come back from the bog where he saw the mana and that he recognized that it was sacred to an old god of the underworld, Iran maybe, and we know that there's a sigil to that old god underneath the altar, and I think Fynn is praying, doing an invocation to that god to try to remove the veils from the eyes of the villagers.
Then I think that is roll plus soul to help another.
Okay, let's see. Well, do I have advantage on that one, on help, I think?
You do because of your pack identity issues.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a 12 then.
What are you doing to me here? Goodness me. On 7 plus, the outcome goes from a fail to success. So and Kai, the woodcrafter, he's kind of frothing at the mouth, eyes wide, and then what? I don't understand. And he, what's going on?
Your mind was taken, my friend, but God has restored you on the path. But he has taken your fellow villagers. We must help them. And I push him, and turn him around, and I see, and I'm hoping that with his help, and we can start to at least stumble them down, because we're strangers to these people, but he's one.
Maybe he can help. I do need to point out to Fynn, as you drop in front of the altar, now that the sign, the sigil that was carved into the floor here, or drawn into the floor here, burned into the floor here, was covered in dirt. But what is interesting, before you started, praying, you know, invoking, using that as a connection to your gods, the earth was already beginning to vibrate over that sign. And as you complete your invocation, this is not you, right? This was happening before you went down that road. Two kind of amorphous green flashes of light leap from that sigil and strike Lady Becca and Rhiannon in the chest. Cadoc, what are you doing?
Clear sign of evil, right?
Well, to you,
yeah, absolutely. So I go for the exorcism thing, right? I draw my cross and I step towards these ladies, and I pray to God and yell at them, to yell at whatever is possessing them, to step back from these women, to leave this holy place, I guess. My church invocations are not that good on a Thursday evening. I will yell at them, spawn of evil, get thee behind us.
and I think that's balm of God at work, isn't it?
I guess, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Roll plus soul.
I already have. I mean, that's fine. Come on. It's an 8. So
flat 8.
Yep.
So on a 7+, choose one, and I'm guessing you're looking to cure a disease or dispel a curse for now at least.
Yes.
Which one?
The lady.
Becca or Rhiannon?
The lady of
Becca.
the, yeah, I mean.
And both of them kind of went, and then Becca slumps down unconscious.
Oh,
but
damn.
Rhiannon is changing.
Oh.
Black Jell. Mangus escaped scrabbling through that arch into the tower. What do? There's chaos behind you.
I will pursue him up the tower.
I only wish that I planned to have him go up the tower. He's going to go out of the tower through the back.
Fine. I'll pursue him wherever he's going. You should have gone up the tower.
He's running for open country by the look of it. So Black Jell, let's have you, I think, probably roll to face a challenge. This is a physical challenge, I think, running after him. So it's roll plus steal. Unless you have a move that you have something else.
No, I don't have a move. Either he's at advantage or I'm at advantage, though.
You're at advantage. He's scrabbled away and you're still,
pursuing. Yeah, go ahead, Will. 3 dice at -1, my friend.
That's a 9, becomes an 8. 7+, you do it, but the fate chooses 1. You mark harm doing it. It takes longer than you'd hoped. Respite is temporary. There's some other appropriate consequence. This is, I think, when I take that hard move off the shelf, because you burst out of the small door at the back of the tower, and Mangus is running across the village. But behind him, you can see a group of mounted figures led by Ryn. And they are charging not at Mangus, but towards the church. So
I have caught Mangus up, have I?
You've caught Mangus up, but they're more interested in you and the church than in him. I'll leave you a moment to think about what you're going to do. Solinus, you've snapped Kai out of this. What are you hoping is going to happen now?
I'm hoping that with Kai's help, we'll be able to, lead the villagers into a different, confuse them, stumble them, diffuse them, like nullify their threat here. I think I'm going to grip hold of them and I'm going to say, these are your people. These are your friends and your families. Speak to them. Hold them. Give them peace. Give them calm. Lead them away from this danger.
I think that probably turns into you rolling to convince them with advantage.
Cool.
Yeah. I have
Yeah.
to say that the transformation that's overtaking Rhiannon is causing a lot of them to kind of stop short.
Yeah.
But let's see if you can
if he speaks,
get the momentum.
Yeah, we must flee from the devil or get the Lady Becca to safety or something, just away from here, basically. I finally roll enough to have got a success on all 3 dice.
What about that? So is that a 9 or a 10?
It's a 10 plus.
10 plus. On a 7 to 9, on 10 plus, they will do it, and you choose one. You gain advantage as a result of their help, or they are awed and their settlement owes you a debt.
Awed and the settlement owes me a debt. I think seems the most appropriate one there.
Make a note somewhere, because I think that the panic of this transformation is such that many of them are shaken out of the kind of euphoric trance, and Kai then begins to help you get a momentum going, and they start to flee out from the church, which is, I think, what you were hoping for.
No more civilians around to get in the way of all of this.
Fingers crossed. Fynn, Becca is falls unconscious. Once Cadoc kind of frees her of the curse, but Rhiannon has transferred. First, her eyes begin to glow, then her muzzle begins to broaden. Her arms begin to lengthen, and she turns into a red, glowing-eyed great hound that you would recognize as one of the hounds of the Celtic underworld, one of the hounds of Annwn. And she leaps at Cadoc. What do you do, Fynn? Oh, you are muted.
I am muted. Okay. I think now that the villagers are all kind of scurrying out and not looking back, I think Fynn will transform at this time to try to. I don't know if transform right there is just what my whole move, or whether I can interfere with the attack on Cadoc.
I'm very happy for you to interfere. I imagine the transformation to beast is part of the kind of rush at Rhiannon. So we'll come and resolve that in a moment. I do want to know, Black Jell, what you're doing as these riders are bearing down on you.
Well, I've sort of got a move that works quite well here that allows me to sort of appear harmless. It's capering fool. So I'm just going to pick up a handful of mud and start eating it.
When you act the fool, reveal some aspect of your life before. Now, I think we already know that you claim to be a prince from across the water. What other aspect do we, something related to this incident or not? I don't know.
I think you see me basically on it looks like a slave boat, but I'm not chained to do the oar work. I'm chained up, and basically the captain is holding the other end of the chain, and basically I'm scrubbing the deck. I'm even lower than the slave oarsman. But yeah, you see me on the high seas.
Lower than a slave on a slave ship. Gosh. I wonder if this was before or after the prince over the water. So yeah, let's have you activate that move then. Roll plus soul.
Do it well, my friend. That's 4 moves rolled and 4 XP. Well, all filled in the first 4 moves.
Takes me 4 sessions to get all 4 of them marked. You do it in one, Paul. God, that is a 7 on the dice. So
plus 1 goes to 8.
Yeah.
I think that's 6 on the dice, plus 1 is 7. Okay. But yeah, 7 plus. Pick one. You're beneath notice and gain advantage to stay that way. That sounds like what you were after.
I must admit, what's sort of the difference between the two?
Well, I think that it is then about staying inconspicuous, or gaining advantage to be dangerous when they think you're harmful?
I think in this instance it'd be to stay inconspicuous to allow them to go past.
Fine. And they rumble past. And I guess those of you inside the church now, and we said the walls weren't entirely complete, so maybe you can see some of this still in the dying of the dusk. The villagers have scurried out the back of the church, and you can hear the kind of hoofbeats pounding across the open space towards the church. I know what Black Jell's done. I know what Cadoc did. I know Fynn. Let me ask you. Let's resolve this kind of interference.
The tackle.
Yeah. So this great dog has one defense: agile and resilient. So this is about judging this and kind of spotting where its weak spot is, or just going full physical on it and trying to pin it to the ground. So steal or subtle?
I think this is a steal moment. I don't think he's feeling subtle. I think he's immediately ripped out of his clothing and transformed. And the hound is charging towards Cadoc, and he comes from the side and attempts to tackle the hound before he can reach.
Fine. Let's have you roll to confront then.
All right.
Using steal.
Steal. Just +1. All right. Ooh, that's not good. That's a 6.
Oh,
Can I help? Can I help?
Oh no, wait, that's not true. That's not true.
Damn.
Because I have an ability that clicks in, don't I? Don't I get a +1 to the first attack?
You have some kind of monstrous capabilities. Yes. I can't now remember which ones.
+1, yep. So I get a 7. I just got it to it.
Damn
it. I mean, Cadoc, you can still help to try and turn that 7 into a 10.
You're right. Then I will try that, obviously, because I mean I'm clearly the hound was jumping for me. So what I will do is I will try to keep its attention on me by I don't know, how do I do that?
I think that's a cunning plan.
I hold my cross in his face and say, "The power of the Lord compels you."
Roll plus soul. That's good for me. It's worked so far.
Can I roll plus subtle?
Subtle, yeah. No, a cunning plan or the power of God.
No, it's a cunning plan.
Okay.
So I think that's subtle, right?
Yeah.
I'm not very good with this, but you know. So yeah, it's a 6. Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. So on a 6, their outcome becomes a 6-, and you are equally at risk from any move the fates makes.
Very sorry.
It was going so well.
Yeah.
And maybe the sight of that crucifix, given that this creature appears to be one of the creation of the old gods, maybe that actually, enrages it. And so on a 6- on confront them, you take harm and they choose 1 from the 7+ list. So this is a slightly larger than human scale. So I think you're each going to take 3 harm. I think your male coat may help, Cadoc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's why I have it.
So 3 harm, and I choose 1 from the 7+ list.
So I actually lost my roll because of Cadoc's help. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Oh yeah, no, that is the downside. Yeah,
the downside of helping. It was good that there's a downside to helping. Yes.
Their outcome. Yeah, so yeah, they fail. Your outcome becomes 6-. You and you are both equally at risk for any move the fates make. So you both take the harm, and I think you are both placed at disadvantage by this turn of events. Black Jell is outside. Solinus, you've kind of seen the people out the back of the church, and cowering in the corner is Benus, the storyteller. and Becca is still kind of slumped in her big chair at the front, and Rhiannon has become a huge glowing-eyed black dog. What do you do, Solinus?
Stumble, like pushing the last of the villagers out, then turn around, and it's like Donald Glover in that scene in Community of just like, what happened behind me? And I will. I think that's the point when I hear the hoofs stampeding towards, and probably see them through the the unfinished wall on the other side. And I'm gonna reach over and grab hold of Bennis and slam him up against the. You know what? In fact, I'm going to grab hold of Bennis and I'm going to step out in front of the horsemen, and I'm going to have my blade tucked right up into his back, around his kidneys, and I'm going to lean forward and say, "Time to use that big mouth of yours for something good for a change."
What are you hoping is going to happen here?
Well, actually, no. Do I do that? Because I don't know. Run was supposed to come and get help, wasn't he? Now that
He was.
So I don't do that, because that would be. I'd forgotten that was a mystery.
That was the plan.
Yeah. I will dash forward to greet Run as he approaches with his men, and I will just yell and point at the serpent, and I will just say, "Your lady needs you," you know.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, that hard move I mentioned, it is that he believes that you lot are going to ruin everyone's plans. And so he comes at you swinging. So you're going to be rolling to confront at disadvantage, but in a situation where you can't really do, because you're on the receiving end of this.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Yeah.
Coming at you at disadvantage.
Yeah. That is a 5 plus.
Now it could be cunning, it could be subtle here.
Yeah, that would only
Or
take
it could be sense to realize what's about to happen.
Yeah, I think
That
that's a good
sudden realization that
Yeah.
that is not a friendly face.
Yeah, because I feel like I've been in enough fights to not just be fooled when someone's coming directly for me rather than past me, kind of thing. That's probably when I dive and for Bennis to put a shield in between me and them, you know. But
Okay.
scrambling away from them, I suppose, at this point, and yelling out to the others, betrayal. Probably as an axe goes whizzing past me or something.
Well, so that's 5 becomes 7.
7, yeah.
Okay. So on a 7 plus, you weren't trying to erase a defense, so you got no benefit here. I think they force disadvantage on you because you stumble away. You know, Bennis is still around and getting in the way of stuff. And Rin kind of gallops past, followed by 3 others.
Probably straight out the other side of the church, right, and then wheels around because it's only.
Well, I think came at you and then is kind of milling about around the church at this point. Black Jell, you caught up with Mangus. These guys have charged past, and you may well have seen them have a go at Solinus, so you know whose side they're on. What do you do, Black Jell?
Can I quickly ask Magnus a question before I decide what to do? I mean, it's a very short question.
Well, you can go on. What do we hear you say, and I'll make a judgment about any moves.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Oh, fair enough then. Go on your way. You must be a good man. And I'll let him go. Because that's horrendously irrational.
He backs away and shuffles away and then turns and runs for it.
And I will stroll back towards the tower.
Church, right. Cadoc and Fynn, you're at disadvantage. You still have the dog-like Lady Rhiannon and the unconscious Lady Becca. There's trouble at the doors. Solinus has kind of come back in. What do we see you do? I think I'm going to start with Cadoc this time.
Oh, this was a bit. This is a lot of dog, and there's people at the door, right?
Mounted figures.
Mounted figures. Damn it.
Yeah, this is Rin and some returning warriors that he's picked up from somewhere, and he's clearly coming back to protect the plot that he has hatched with Mangus.
I think it might look better if a wild animal ripped apart the former spouse, the lady here. Just say, because it's kind of a weird. I'm pretty sure I have trust in Fynn. Fynn can handle this. I'm sure of it. And I will. Yeah, I have learned prioritize, right? So I will stride out. Yeah, bloodied but not broken, at these warriors, and I will explain to them that head here. These, yeah, I will just try to. I don't know what Solinus is doing there.
Solinus is looking a bit, shocked at this point.
I mean, you will have seen that they just tried to kill me, And,
tried to write him down.
Yeah, that might make me not like them, and yell at them a little harder, and also try to draw the attention away from you, because I have armor and you have not.
Okay, so I think this is more like face a challenge of distracting them than it is confront them at this point.
Yeah.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
So face a challenge, and I think it is steel. So roll plus steel.
Do I roll
at disadvantage? Afraid so,
yeah. Yeah.
Still slightly discombobulated.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's 6 plus 2 is an 8. So.
Wow. No, that's disadvantage is the bottom.
Disadvantage, yeah. So it's a 4.
Wow. When another hero's action does not go well, ask if they want your help. Now, Solinus, you would be rolling at disadvantage as well, just before we step into, a previous situation.
For me, for you, yeah.
I'm, what kind of...
it can't get any worse for Cadoc.
Yeah. I mean, I've been rolling so well, right? Okay, I will... I think I'll do that thing that I said that I would do with Venice, perhaps. I'll grab mine, because he's in a panic in a state, right? Like, I will just pull mine. I will just say, like, call, stand down, or I'll kill him. Like the no other appeal.
That sounds like a cunning plan.
Yeah.
So subtle.
Yeah, cool. So I'm on 7-9. No, 7-8. Sorry, 8.
8. So on an 8, their outcome improves a step from 6 minus 7 to 9. So that's a good thing, Cadoc. That failure becomes a 7 plus. Oh, hang on. Weren't you at disadvantage, Solinus?
I did roll the disadvantage.
And I'm seeing a 6, a 2, and a 1.
Oh shit! Yeah. So it's a 3, it's a 4. There we go. Yeah, you're right.
So that it gets no worse for you, Cadoc. All that happens is the Solinus is sucked into the chaos.
Sorry.
And so what I think happens here is that on a 6 round, things get worse. I think both of you take 2 harm as these horses just kind of start barging you about, and you get hit from above. So mark some harm.
Does Venice get trampled?
Oh yeah, he's obnoxious. He's going to get trampled. You throw him under the horse, and maybe one of the horses stumbles, and you end up getting hit.
Yeah, I just want to see that smile as that guy closes in on Venice, whereas I'm like, you'll get hurt, and instead he's just like, I don't care about Venice.
Oh my goodness me, Cadoc, you're looking in quite a bad way.
Yeah. Oh wait, I take 1 less harm because of armor.
Fine. Black Jell is strolling back, thinking he's done his job. Fynn, there is this big black dog that is now focused on you.
Yeah, I think what we saw was like Fynn in the first attack just get swiped down by the dog, and he falls onto the altar where the sigil is. So he's face down there, and I think what he's going to do is attempt to destroy the sigil somehow. It's in the earth, right? It's marked in the earth. So he just takes his claws and he starts going at the sigil as if he's going to destroy the source of whatever this dog's power is.
I like the idea. You've been thrown onto the altar. It was a makeshift altar, just a couple of planks. They break, you go face down in the mud. There's the symbol, and then you start tearing at it. Okay, this sounds like you are trying to confront it with your belief. So I think this is roll plus soul.
Okay, but I have disadvantage, right?
You have disadvantage because you're face down in the mud.
Because I face down in the mud, yes. All right, 1, 2, 3. Roll. So that is a 4 plus 2 is a 6.
So that doesn't work, and I don't think there's anyone at hand to help. However, of course, you can always opt to help yourself.
I've never helped myself before.
All you have to do is owe your patron a debt, and say how, how does this work?
I think as he's clawing down at it, he is realizing that he was out of his depths in praying to the underworld god, and he calls upon the Lord of Beasts, Carnunus, to help him stop this summoning.
So increase the debt you owe the old gods by 1, and you can re-roll 1 or both, or 1 or 2 of those dice.
Okay.
I wonder which 2 you'll choose.
Okay, so there are 3 of them. I'll still have disadvantage, but
yeah. So one of them stays as it is. You can re-roll 1 or 2 of them.
Okay, so I'll re-roll these 2. That makes sense. Okay, perfect. We'll see what happens. Okay, so that does it. Then I
that's
have
much.
Right?
Yeah, that's 7, 8, 9. I think.
9. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So on a 9+, the defenses are raised, and what does that look like? How does Carnunus actually intervene here to remove this beast's agility or resilience? What do we see?
So the beast is a hound, right?
Yeah. A deer hound, if you like.
A deer hound. Yeah, that's lovely. I think although the other people don't see it, there is a vision of Carnunus rising from the altar, and both Fynn and Rhiannon, is that her name? Yes, Rhiannon. Yeah. Stagger backwards at that, and I think Rhiannon loses that charge of energy that she had from the interaction with Cadoc and the anger at the crucifix, and is kind of humbled for a moment by,
I think, Carnunus. Exactly so. So that defense is removed, and the guy, whatever happened to her, whatever physical transformation, I think that disperses as she stumbles away. Black Jell. As you're wandering back, thinking I've done a good job, you can see Solinus and Cadoc engaged with a group of mounted warriors around about the entrance to the church. What, if anything, do you do?
Actum! 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 I'm going to start speaking gibberish.
Which is your move. So go ahead, roll plus sense. Noisily draw attention to yourself by shouting gibberish.
Will, my friend, do the honors.
Just a normal dice roll, no advantage?
What? No advantage.
No dis.
That's a 6 on the dice.
+3, 9.
9. On a 7+, say who or what stops doing what they were doing, confused, allowing another hero to act unopposed, or if they're yet to act, to grant the hero advantage. So they are engaged, but it allows either Solinus or Cadoc to do something without risk, in effect. So they have that attention on you. 7 to 9, you are also caught up in so caught up in your own gibberish that you are at disadvantage on your next action. So whatever you are saying is fascinating. I think I'll go to the warrior first. Cadoc, you notice this kind of pause when all of them look towards Black Jell. What do you use this moment for?
How many of them are there?
There are 4 of them. There's Rin and 3 others.
Oh,
I'm
that's
treating the 3 as a group.
yeah, but still, it's a lot more than I am, and I'm wounded, and I don't have my horse. I think I need my horse here. Yeah, I've got God on my side, which is true, but I would have God more on my side if I had my horse.
So I think I'm seeing you sprinting to where your horse is in the stable beside the Great Hall.
Yeah, and I will try to draw them after me though. Like,
I'll face a challenge to do that.
am I still at disadvantage, or is that
No,
reconciled?
disadvantage is gone. You've
Cool.
recovered yourself.
Okay, and I'm rolling face a challenge with steel.
I think so. Or it's either steal or subtle. You know, do they see you as a risk, a threat
No.
they need to follow, or do they see you?
It's steel.
Well, look, I tell you what, I'm not going to make you roll because they're distracted. So you use that opportunity to get to the stable and mount your horse.
No, Sabine mentioned she wanted to distract them. Lead them away.
I don't want them to kill Black Jell.
Okay. So yeah, fair enough. Let's have you roll subtle cunning plan or steal. They see you as a greater threat.
It's not a cunning plan. I'm not good with cunning plans. Not Blackadder, but I am good with steel. I have a 12.
Fine. And some of them at least peel away. They notice you, but they won't get to you before the horse, because that's the advantage that Black Jell bought you. So you will be mounted when they get to you. Solinus, Rin and one of the others is gone. 2 of them are left with their focus on you. What do you do? Now you could, run for it. You could look for, some better place to face them. You don't have to I don't want to pin you down to you must confront them here.
I'll tell you what, Alan, this will help me decide on what move to get. Would Black Jell's capering also be enough for me to use the move Stalker to confront an unsuspecting throw with a blade through the throat?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, then great. While Black Jell capers and Cadoc leads off the other 2, and they just stop, and the other ones just stop and stare and pull out their weapons and just shrug at each other. I will suddenly appear. The camera just sees suddenly a hand around the back of his neck, and that's
okay. So you will roll confront an unsuspecting foe with steel. Roll with advantage to pick the right moment and spot. I can tell you that those warriors have 2 defenses, experienced in war and round shield. I think that this is probably getting round the shield.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're getting up close and personal. The shield's going to be no use.
That is a 9, and I have a steel of 0, so that's a 9.
9. So so that advantage is gone. So one of them, they've lost the advantage of shield. I'm treating them as a unit because they've got something called strength in numbers. And they are going to on a 7+. I think as you're I imagine on the back of the horse behind him trying to cut his throat. And I think that this rider will, elbow you in the guts, which maybe exacerbates a wound you already have. Just mark 1 harm. Cool. This takes us back inside the church, I think, Fynn. Where Rhiannon has stumbled back, transformed, it appears, back into a woman. Becca is still unconscious. You are still in your monstrous form. What do you do?
Now, can I see any of the events that are transpiring between Solinus and Cadoc and all of that?
Yeah, I think, out through the door of the church, you can see Solinus on the back of a warrior's horse, clearly trying to cut his throat,
And Rin
and
is
another warrior out there.
Rin is the leader, or he's not there.
Rin has followed Cadoc.
Oh, Rin has followed Cadoc. Okay, right. So I think I will go to try to assist Solinus with the other warriors. So there's this big running and leaping, and I'm going for the throat of one of the other warriors.
Fine, let's have you do that. So what they've got left is experienced in war and strength in numbers. So experienced in war, it's either kind of intimidate them with steel, or pick your moment with subtle.
I'll try to intimidate them with steel, I guess.
Yeah, because you are quite intimidating, it seems to
I'm
me.
covered in mud. I'm covered in blood.
And you're a half wolf monster.
Right, and I just saw my god.
There you go. So let's have you roll with steel.
So that's an 8. My steel is 1, but I also get a +1 to my attacks in the were form. So that's a 10.
That's a 10. So on 7+, they're experienced in war. They may be experienced in war. They're not experienced in Fynn. On a 7+, they will inflict some harm on you though on the way in. So they are going to inflict. Let me think. They are just. They're going to inflict 2 harm on you.
Okay.
Just getting some blade between you and them on the way in. But on a 10+, you get to deflect their attacks, so you could reduce that harm by 1. Force them to where you gain advantage, or draw all threats menacing someone else to you, which would mean that Solinus is ignored for the next action.
Okay, so that might give him advantage. A quick question. I mean, I'm getting up there in the harm. So if I take 2, I still have 1 box left.
Ooh, yeah. You and Cadoc are both in that country.
Okay.
So it might be worth taking that 1 less harm.
Yeah, maybe I will deflect. So I'll take
Okay.
1 less. Yeah.
Okay, and just sweeping the axe aside, so you bruise rather than bleed.
Bleed. I'm bleeding enough already.
So all they have now is advantage in numbers, and actually they don't have that anymore because there's 2 of you. So that's gone as well. So Solinus, you are in a position to try to humble them.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, could have Jose sacrificed gear to block the attack?
I think if he had much in his were form, he could have done.
I'm just wondering if it could injure his arm and remove his advantage on first attack, but then it's past. Yeah, never mind. Sorry, just getting mechanically focused then. So the fiction is that they're both in terror of the werewolf. Maybe I got elbowed off the horse, and as he wheeled to strike me, there was suddenly that howl. And obviously there's a bigger threat right behind him.
It is.
And you know what? I will. I think I will shoot them with my bow and arrow. As I stumble up on one knee and fire as they shakily raise their weapons towards Fynn. Right.
Okay. So let's have you roll to humble them. That sounds like roll plus steel.
Yep. A typical 6.
On a 6-, you take harm and they are at disadvantage. As an arrow thuds, the bowstring, you didn't catch it right. It just thuds into the ground beside them. They turn and rush at you. So you take harm and are at disadvantage. Do you try to humble them again, or do they take your moment of indecision as an opportunity to flee? I don't think they're going to flee. So you are going to take 1 harm. As kind of just on the side, so to speak. Cadoc, you've mounted up, and you can see the 2 riders coming towards you, Rin and another. Black Jell, you are still capering. You've seen Solinus's attack with his bow fall flat. Fynn is all over one of them. What do you want to do before I resolve Cadoc?
I'm going to attack one of them.
Fine. Probably the one that is confronting Solinus, because I think Solinus is looking the least potent at this point. Fine. I'll come back to you in a moment. Cadoc, what do we see you do as you leap into the saddle?
So there are still two coming at me.
Two coming at you,
Okay.
Rin and another.
Okay. Still 2-1, and I'm pretty badly wounded. So yeah. And the
But
others.
you are a hero with the gift of God.
Yeah, true. If I die, I go to heaven. You're right. Let's try this. I take my lance, my spear. Sorry, it's a spear, not a lance.
Well, it's a lance when you're in a saddle.
I am in a saddle and there's a lance. Okay. I will ride at what's his name? Rin.
Rin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that thing.
I mean, I liked him, but he's a heathen. And he is also an enemy of God, but I can't use the move again. But anyway,
fine. By
the grace of Saint Adrian.
Roll plus steel.
Yeah. It's a 4, it's a 6.
It's a 6. You can always try to help yourself, you know.
I am already, yeah, well, I mean, in this case, I probably need to. You know what? I rolled these two. I will roll both again because.
Well, remember to owe your god a debt.
Oh, okay. I have. I owe my god so many debts. I have a 9 then.
9, okay.
Which is slightly better.
So I think probably, do you want to knock his round shield out of his hand? Or do you want to awe him with your skill? Because he was skilled in war and you could undermine it.
Oh, yeah. I think what I want to do is I will awe him. Come on. Why not?
Fine. So he just has a round shield left as his defense. And you thunder past on a 7+. I think that because there are two of them, the other one buffets your horse as you pass and you're at disadvantage.
Horse. Okay.
Yeah. Black Jell, you've said you were going to rush the one who is.
Is that in lieu of damage?
That's in lieu of damage. Yeah,
okay.
I've chosen not to inflict harm.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Black Jell, what are we thinking?
Well, I'm at disadvantage, so I'm going to throw my non-thrown weapon at him.
Love it. Love it. Roll 3 dice, take the bottom 2, add steel.
Will, give me 3 dice and then take 1 off.
Four.
4 becomes 3.
3.
There we go. 3 it is.
What, this flies past the head of Solinus's assailant.
No, let's say it doesn't. It bounces off the ground and smacks me back. I mean, it's such a lunacy, stupid thing to do, to try and throw a non-throw weapon. Literally, it bounces off the ground, tracks me in the head.
Fine. Take 1 harm, and I'll choose something from the. I think I'm going to inflict 2 harm on you then.
Sounds
1 for that choice, and 1 for what happens. So, Solinus, we must catch a glance of you just looking over your assailant's shoulder and thinking, "Oh yes, oh no."
Blinks, and then yeah.
And then you're back in the fray. Fynn, you have one of them at your mercy. Do they receive it, or are you going to, let's have you roll to humble them.
Okay.
Roll plus steel.
Is humble different from confront?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's only because you could humble them using a number of different routes, the way you could confront them, but the outcome is different.
Okay. But the move that says I get a +1 to confront them doesn't work. In
Doesn't
this case.
apply. No.
Okay. So it's the regular steal, which is just a +1. Oh, that's not good. It's a 5.
Wow. You guys are really helping me out tonight, aren't you? On a 5, you take harm and are at disadvantage.
I would like to help out Fynn.
I'll let you have a go. I'll let you have a go. What could go wrong?
He growls, like howls, and I say, "Oh, you've made him mad now. You best run before he rips you limb from limb." He's one of them too. And I point at Black Jell, who's like going, "Ah!"
The transformation is in. Yeah,
he transforms.
That sounds like a cunning plan to me. So roll plus subtle.
Okay. Wait, that's an 8 on the dice, so that's a 9 overall.
So a 9 overall means that the Finn's roll improves from a failure to a success, and if anything rough comes out of this, you're caught up in it. So on a 7+, you succeed in humbling them. They're at your mercy, Fynn. Do they receive it, or do you end them?
And this is for both of them, or
yes, because I'm treating them as a pair. They are lower status.
I think I want to humble them in this case because it seems correct with the narrative that they're just going to flee. Would that be humbling, or would that?
Well, if you spare a mortal threat, their settlement or faction owes you a debt. And in effect, you allow them to do what Black Jell did with Mangus, really, which is off you go. Yeah. But they're not going to kind of hold a grudge.
Okay, I think we see them running off.
So a faction in Gwynedd owes you a debt.
Okay.
So let me go. Black Jell is holding his head. Cadoc, you wheel, they wheel. I think that the kind of lower status warrior that came with Rin sees what's gone on behind with Fynn and the other two, and wheels off towards them. And we'll see them grab his stirrup and kind of make haste, leaving you and Rin to face off. You have taken out his skilled in war. He is still defended by a round shield. What do we see you do?
I have disadvantage, right?
You do.
Okay. Well, God's on my side. What could go wrong? Maybe I can owe God another debt.
Well, they're mounting up.
They are. Well, in for a penny, in for 20,000 pounds. So let's roll that. It's 5. It's a +2 is a 7. Yep,
squeaked in, but you got there.
Yep.
What happens to the round shield that you actually kind of get?
I said I have a lance, right?
Yeah.
I do actually do something skillful and warrior-like. I hit him with the lance and knock the shield out of his hands.
And it shatters.
Yeah.
Because the power of God is behind your arm. On a 7+, the defense is erased, but the threat chooses 1. It was a hell of a clash. You remain at disadvantage.
Okay.
He's lost his shield, but you're kind of knocked back in the saddle.
Yeah, I'm pretty badly wounded, so yeah, it makes sense that I'm not really.
Fynn, Solinus, Black Jell, you see this kind of joust going on behind you. Cadoc is not looking in the best of states, but it is possible to humble Rin. Which one of you do you think is most likely to take advantage of this and try to humble this pious warrior?
I mean, I'd like to either offer it up to the werewolf to bound over the battlefield and leap atop him, or I'll restring my bow, swear, and say, like, look up at the sky and say, better not miss this time, and fire. whichever one we were most interested in, I think.
Well, I think Fynn had an opportunity to humble the last pair. I think I owe you a chance to humble. So roll plus steel with the bow and arrow.
I'll only failing. So. Oh no, I've succeeded. 9. Ta-da.
9. Will you look at that? Do you want anyone to help you to see if you can convert that into a 10?
I will try and help him.
No,
no,
hang on. He has to ask for help.
No, I'm 100% happy for Black Jell to help as he wipes the blood away from his broken nose.
So what does this help look like, Jell?
I'm going to tell him exactly where to aim. Don't fire at him. Fire at his horse. That's what you want to take out. Take out the horse.
Right. Let's have you roll. I think that's sense.
Yeah.
Because that does seem like common sense to me. So roll plus sense.
Go for it. Will. Yeah. Help yourself here. If the roll's bad, it's your fault.
It's my fault. It's bad. It's 5 on the dice. And what's your?
Oh no, that's good. That goes to an 8.
Oh, good.
So the fail turns into a success, and you humble them by taking out the horse. And as he's galloping towards Cadoc looking very unsteady, losing a lot of blood, and the horse just goes down in a heap. He's at your mercy, Solinus. Do you offer him mercy, or do you end him?
I think he's killed and is or like mortally injured as the horse crushes him, as he rolls underneath his horse.
Fine, he is ended. And that reaches our commercial break. Slightly late. It is 20 past the hour. My goodness me, that was some kind of cinematic to and fro. Back in our seats. Is 5 minutes long enough?
A little bit more, please.
10. Let's make it 10. So back in our seats, 1:30. So we're back from a slightly extended first part of this episode, and I think what I want to know is what's the aftermath of this. Rin, the pious warrior, is dead. Mangus, the malicious priest of God, is on the run. Benus, the obnoxious storyteller, was crushed under the hooves of some horses. What's what state is this settlement in? I think Solinus, I'm going to start with you. You strike me as somebody who knows something about the way organizations work, even if they're criminal.
I think that we saved Lady Becca, right? Bennis is battered and broken on the ground, and will remain that way. I don't think anyone's rushing to help him. And we've got Kai, the wood carver, who is bringing people around. Rhiannon, is she back into human form?
She's in human form. Whatever power that came out of the old gods prior to Fynn kind of invoking them has dispersed thanks to the intervention of Cadoc. And she is dazed and confused, I think is fair to say.
Yeah. Out of it, basically. I think that it's about rousing Lady Becca and having her take control of her people. Not control, but like giving them something to rally around and wait for this mana to lose its fervor. Because I don't know how much longer we're going. Sorry, to Meta. I don't know how much longer have we still got more of the adventure to do? Or
no, I think you correctly identified. Your revelation worked. You identified the villain. You have confronted and driven off the villain. You have saved the settlement from these machinations.
Then you will see Solinus handing out water. Lifting a cup of water to the mouth of someone who is not drunk for days because they were driven by this fervor. And he will say, the Lord heals your wounds, my friend.
Black Jell, I think I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I would like to complicate things by telling an uncomfortable truth. I'm going to tell everybody here that it was only a few weeks ago we killed loads of your kingdom in a battle. It was excellent.
That is indeed an uncomfortable truth. If only the pious warrior wasn't dead, there might be a direct consequence of that. That is an uncomfortable truth to tell. Cadoc, do you want to add to this kind of epiloguing away from Brangarw?
Me look up stuff. I think these are Christians, right? I won't, I mean, I'm wounded, I'm shaken a little. What I will do is I will ride up to the church, nod at the ladies, and then limp into the church, kneel, and pray.
And finally, Fynn, do you want to add to anything to this kind of aftermath?
Well, I just want to add that so when that battle ended, I think Fynn ran off so that he wasn't going to transform back into himself, like in front of onlookers. Although we kind of vanquished most of the onlookers. And when we see him find a hidden spot, he transforms back, and he's close to dying, I think, or he is dying, I think, according to the mechanic, right?
Yeah. He's bleeding badly.
And there is a he's going to leave the cleanup to Solinus and Cadoc, but I think there is a move that I'm supposed to do when I come out of the scene.
There is.
Maybe not be so dying.
Bestial vitality. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll need to do that one at some point.
Yeah, well, let's do that one now. So we
Okay.
clear the. So roll plus steal.
Okay. Well, I just rolled the same thing that I rolled before. Which was a 4, so that's a 1. So
wow,
it's still going to be bad.
On 6 minus, clear dying. So all the dying boxes you can clear, however many there are. But your scars weep until you leave this settlement. Face a challenge to conceal them or roll seeming human whenever you encounter an NPC. It sounds like you want to avoid them.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah, I want to avoid them, yeah.
Fine.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I think all of that happens. To be honest, I don't think that Lady Becca is in a position to owe you all a debt. Because she was kind of passively engaged with this plot to raise the profile and reputation of the settlement. So I don't think she's sufficiently grateful to owe you all a debt. But if we go to the arriving and leaving tab, leaving, each hero clears all wearied and wounded. So clear wearied and wounded. So Fynn, you cleared dying previously. Now just licking your wounds gets rid of wounded and wearied. But if you are stuck with a dying, either someone needs to use a move, or you can call on your god for an intervention. I think we have I think Cadoc, you're in the dying stakes, aren't you?
I am, but I think I also have been. I mean, my God has done enough. My God has done enough for me. I owe my God a lot of that gratitude, and I will not ask him to heal me because that would just be so selfish. I will ask him to heal the village.
That's very, very, very nice of you. I think that Solinus, you can clear those wearied and wounded boxes. But if you want rid of dying, either someone needs to engage a move or you fall back on a bit of prayer.
I mean, just having dying still ticked would just be I have an injury, right? And it remains. Yeah, I'm fine to have.
I have the option when you have dying marked. I've not used it yet because you rolled some very, very dodgy dice, the lot of you. But I have the option to increase the level of harm you take because you're already dying. So
yeah, I'm happy.
That's the mechanical disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm happy for now to just carry the wound.
Limp off. Fine. So that's that stage left. That's that bit done. The Fates trigger's on the road again. Once you've left a settlement, say which faction they are traveling into. So again, I am curious to know where you are heading. You are currently in Gwynedd, so the options you have are Mercia, Saxon Mercia, Christian Elmet, Saxon Dera, which is where you came from, Christian Reged, or Pagan the Hill Country. What's your preference? Any? Go on, Fynn.
I was wondering whether, I don't know if this is the wrong sequence, but since we're going to narrate stories that connect us to places at some point, maybe could we do that first, and then we might have some place that we can connect to that we head towards?
Thank you for that reminder, because I'd forgotten all about it. To explain to our viewers, there was a stage in character generation which I took out, which, having discussed it with the players, I'm going to put back in, which is that they get to add something to the map. So this is on the character generation tab. Let me start then in the order I can see them. The Loon. Where is the settlement where you lived before you were touched, Black Jell? Which of these kingdoms was that settlement in?
Let's go for
it needs to be a Saxon kingdom, so it's Bernicia, Dera, Lindsay, or Mercia. Bernicia. Yeah, okay. I'll come back to you in a moment for a bit of detail on that. Solinus. The settlement where you were declared out with the law. Not necessarily the first time, but a settlement.
Yeah.
Again, a Christian one. It's going to be Gwynedd, Elmet, Reged, or Gododin.
You know what? We're in Gwynedd. Why don't we make it Gwynedd? What would be the capital of Gwynedd?
It's not, because Gwynedd stretches into North Wales on this map. So I've used Diva, which is Chester.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good. Yeah. Diva.
So, Diva. Okay.
Well, hang
on. I'm coming back for the detail. Then our sword of God, where your mentor trained you, and this again will be one of the Christian kingdoms. So this is going to be Gwynedd, Elmet, Reged, or Gododin.
I think it's Elmet. I have a soft spot for Elmet here, and I think that's the monastery where I hail from. It's
fine. So Elmet, and our skin changer. Now, though you are a pagan believer, Fynn, you are British, so there are small pockets of paganism in all those Christian British kingdoms. So you've got a wide option here: Gwynedd, Elmet, Reged, Gododin, or among the hill tribes.
Ooh.
I was thinking that his village was among the hill tribes, but just north of the boundary between Dera and Gwynedd.
Fine. Among the northern hill tribes, yeah?
Yeah.
That works, fine. Let me go back to the questions related to this then. So Alun, who or what do you miss from your life there?
I miss the sea.
He misses the sea. Why?
Because that's it was Bedinburgh where I first washed ashore, and I spent some time in Bedinburgh. I'm a person of the sea.
Fine. And at some point you were touched there or thereabouts, and that's maybe where these were they delusions or not? Prince across the water, who knows? Let's go to Solinus, and my follow-up question for you, Solinus, is what was your supposed crime, and why was their judgment flawed?
I think that Diva Gwynedd is where Solinus first came to these lands, having put us behind his time as a criminal and trying to seek a better path. after God showed him a miracle. But in Diva, there was, I think, like a tax collector type warrior, like a thug, basically going around collecting, tribute from people. And Solinus killed him when he threatened some people who were in desperate times. So the judgment was flawed because he was abusing his power, but probably don't care that so much that he was abusing his power so much as some stranger killed one of their men.
Yeah.
And I think that's when Solinus came to the idea that he couldn't put aside violence completely.
So they took no notice of justification, but simply charged the stranger. So what I've written in is see if that kind of works, and then tweak it if it hasn't. Will.
Yeah.
Does that? Oh, hang on. No, I'll make it bigger than that. Hang on.
Which tab
There
are
we
you
go.
on?
We're on. Well, sorry, I'm just writing some stuff into the map tab.
Map.
Just
Okay.
making some notes there. Which actually let me move it nearer to your end of the screen, because Cadoc, the monastery of St. Adrian in Elmet was where you trained.
Yep.
And my follow-up question is, who was your mentor and what was their greatest virtue?
Greatest virtue. Oh wow. I think my mentor, I would need, give me a sec. I had a name in my mind and then I forgot it. Oh yeah. He was Father Boniface. He was an Irishman, a monk. And his greatest virtue was steadfastness in the face of adversity. Some might say fanaticism, but that would be unkind.
There you go. I'll let you put any question marks in that, but and I clearly can't spell. Boniface, in fact, was his name. Yeah, check that out. Tweak it if you want to. And Fynn, our skin changer. My follow-up question to you is the place of power where you were cursed, and how were you misled or seduced into accepting your curse, or was it forced upon you?
I think we see a scene of Fynn in human form, younger Fynn, running, and he's holding his arm, which it clearly has a big bite wound on it and is bleeding. And he's running through a forest, and you can hear the howling of wolves behind him, and he's looking over his shoulder. And then he comes to a bluff. He's cut off at a bluff that's overhanging a river, and he looks over his shoulder and he can see the wolves approaching, and he says, "Save me, Lord." And then we see he sees a vision of Carnunus with his hand out, and Fynn steps off the bluff and falls into the river, and then we see him splash into the water and he goes black. He didn't know what was going to happen later, but that's what happened.
Fine. So neither forced nor misled in a way, but it was a consequence. It was what Carnunus took a payment of sorts.
A payment, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
By bestowing the curse. Okay. Oh gosh. Again, I've had a go at trying to summarize that. Tweak it in your own time, by all means, all of you. A couple of follow-up questions. I think the place of power then is that bluff and that river a place of power?
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
Where a river is a place of power.
I think
Fine.
it's the headwaters of the wharf, maybe. Yeah.
And then, yeah, uncompromising. Yeah, I was gonna come back and check on the fanaticism, because I think we've seen some of that in Cadoc's, kind of slightly looking at the world in black and white.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
do you want to kind of misses the sea because he washed ashore in Bebbanburg? I'm just curious, I suppose, if should I just then say see playbook? Because Paul, there's some stuff in the play, because we've done this the wrong way around. We've developed a bit of the playbook stuff before the location. So we know that he spent time on this slave ship. We know that he claims to have come from overseas and to have some status. Does that connect the two things? Okay. Right. Thank you. Okay, so that gives us a bit of geography to be playing with, and might influence whether whether you want to go to one place or another. So as I say, you're in Gwynedd, northeast Gwynedd, and you could go to Mercia, you could go to Elmet, Deira, the hill tribes, the hill country, or Reged. Any of those of particular interest? I mean, Bernicia is not available, so I don't know whether Black Jell wants to go back there. You might want to look at the question that you'll be asked when you arrive to decide whether you want to go back here to these places. Cadoc, is it time to visit the monastery of Saint Adrian or some settlement nearby?
No, I think I need. I mean, I might eventually, because oh my God, a lot of debt, and I maybe need to go back and confess my sins, which are copious, obviously. But
no, that's fine. Solinus, do you want to stay in Gwynedd, or do you want to move on and see what happens?
I'm conscious that due to me not accidentally not signing up to all the sessions in the run, that I'm not sure I'm reliably in another session until for the foreseeable. So it would seem perverse to go to I would just like to float the suggestion, perhaps, that we have a fictional reason maybe to go to Elmet and where the monastery is, because we drove out a priest purporting to be a saint who could spread his evil among the land, and he could who could put in a good word for us with the Christian forces, the sword of God, and this priest, right? Like it depends on if we want to have Mangus be a recurring thing in any way, shape, or form. But that's just my suggestion,
Yeah, I mean, it depends, Cadoc, if you want to go that way. Who or what has kept you away until now?
I think I would like to not go back to the monastery, but for now, because my brethren, we are all fanatics, and God has made me share path with a shapeshifter, but ordinarily these are monsters. These need to be killed. I'm not doing that, and okay, God wants me to do that, clearly.
Okay.
But,
well, with that in mind, I'm going to come to you, Fynn. You could head into the hill country, or would you prefer to go to somewhere else? If Elmet is off the table at the moment, you've been to Deira, Reged or the hill country would seem to be two possibilities. Are you interested in going home or going to that place of power?
Sure, we could head that way through if we were, especially if we're gonna head. Isn't Black Jell from Bernicia? I'm trying to think that direction. If I look at the map real quick, so we could be heading in that direction through that southern part of the hill country.
Okay.
The hill tribes,
Fine. So in answer to the question, where are you heading? You're heading into the hill country. I do want to carry on trying to make, weird bid full arrayed work. So I've tweeted already, so you just roll for once. So given that you, Jose, made the decision ultimately to head into the hill country, I want you to roll for what is the posture of this hill country relative to Gwynedd, which you are leaving. So currently, Gwynedd is neutral to the hill tribes. So you are going to be rolling a flat pair of d6s just to see if that neutral changes at all.
Okay. It's a 10.
10. On 10 plus, the neighboring factor shifts its posture one step towards allied. So the hill tribes are obviously being courted by Gwynedd. They are now friendly to Gwynedd. Historically, Gwynedd will end up sweeping through an area and devastating all of the Saxon kingdoms, but that's 15 years down the road. So so that's great. Sorted that out. Back to wherever you're leaving. We've done with full arrayed. Encounters on the road. While on the road into the faction, they have identified the heroes encounter travelers heading in the opposite direction. The fate says why they're on the road and their faith. So let me roll a couple of d6s. I don't get to do this often. A 3 and a 5 or a 5 and a 3. Seeking or searching a different faith from either faction. So these are Saxons searching for a lost relative. Group of Saxons, they've been looking through the hill country trying to find this lost relative, and now they're heading into Gwynedd. Slightly dangerous for a bunch of Saxons to do, but there you go. If the faction the heroes are traveling into is neutral or hostile, it's not, it's friendly or allied. Who currently has the highest favor, please? I'm pretty confident it's not Cadoc.
Where is favor?
It might be.
Favor is all the way down the bottom where your deaths
Fynn.
go.
I think it's Fynn. It's got a lot of favor.
Well, 1.
Oh, okay. And in which case?
Yeah, but
it's
you've
still
got one
that.
as well.
Oh,
Oh no, you've got 0. You've
Yeah.
got 0 Black Jell with Woden.
Yeah.
So it is in fact Fynn again. So Fynn, roll me a 2d6 plus favor plus 1.
A 7.
On a 7 plus, the Fates describes a friendly encounter during which each hero may seek solace in friendship with one of the encountered travelers. That's not so bad, is it?
No.
So is there anyone who currently wants to convert a debt into a temptation and then work to get rid of that temptation? I'm going to go to Cadoc first because you are currently at -5 favor.
I
Soon
need to-
God is going to start getting
Yeah,
angry.
But I've got 2 temptations, so I must clear them first because I roll
Oh.
horribly usually when I try to
Oh.
do them. And as you said, if I can do a solace and thingy with someone we encounter, can I do a solace and thingy with one of the group? Either
You
two?
could.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do first?
I would like to do what is the name of the movement? Solace and
Seek solace in friendship.
seek solace and friendship. Who do I want to seek solace and friendship with? I think Solinus kind of sounds like solace anyway. And also I think he has maybe mentioned that he's done some wound binding or stuff like that. So I might just ask him to maybe take a look. Not that it's really bad, but kind of.
I mean, remember that's a different thing. That's healing.
Yeah.
I want to focus on solace in friendship to start with. So the approach is I'm not feeling very well.
Yeah, that's
how are you going to what are you talking about in terms of longing? Because that's the one that you that you need to get rid of first. So
That's
what's the
one.
nature of the conversation then, Cadoc?
Okay, I think I will. I will tell him maybe that that when I was with my brethren, we used to do this for each other, but I'm out here with you folks now, and you are certainly fine folks. But I have the feeling that I knew my brothers like I knew my own hand, and I do not know too much about you all.
I had a brother too. In fact, he's the one who wants me dead.
Oh,
I wanted him dead too.
oh.
Now you know something more about me.
Mm.
But I'll tell you something more about me. This God, this power that you worship, that you lived your whole life in service to. I never thought it was much of a thing at all. Until the day it let me take back the great mistake I had made when I plunged the blade between my brother's ribs. And it's thanks to that power that he lives. And I believe it is thanks to that power that I live. And it's thanks to that power that I have met you, Cadoc, and that we could save those people.
Yeah, God is powerful, and I'm very glad to have met you, Solinus, and thank you for telling me that. I've often doubted, to tell you the truth, but that is a weakness. That is my weakness.
Well, I'm sure when I balance my lifetime of doubt against your just small moments, you're still coming out on top there, Cadoc. I'll slap you on the back.
Yes, but I was raised in that way. You, however, you turned from you know the story of the prodigal son and who God loves the most? He doesn't love his shepherd son who makes small mistakes and then rectifies them. He loves the son he thought lost and came back to him.
I would love to call that scene on Cadoc teaching Solinus some of the ways of Christianity rather than the half-assed stuff that he's picked together. You know, he doesn't know any scripture. He doesn't know anything like that. Right? So, yeah.
Roll 2d6 plus soul, please, Cadoc.
Oh, I hate that we have to roll these. Because I rolled a 6 again.
Oh, wow. They listened patiently, but you have not found value in their counsel. Presumably, it's clear that Solinus is a kind of Christian almost by habit and experience, not book-learned at all.
No, I think I feel bad because I have not had this moment of clarity.
Fine. Do not clear a temptation, and you cannot seek solace again until you reach a new settlement, unless the fate says otherwise. So God is not happy with you, Cadoc. You know, all the signs are that you have, if not angered God, you have not pleased him.
I'm a sinner. I know. I know.
Yes. But you're also a sinner in his bad books, which is not a good place to be. Let me go next to let's go to Solinus.
I did mark my temptations during the break because I was like, well, you know, if I don't mark them now, then I can't roleplay them in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So I no longer owe my God a debt. But you know, I have the temptation of longing, and as does Cadoc, and I think that was a two-way street, really. So can I just roll to see how that made me feel?
Yeah, I mean, technically, you can only clear longing last, so you need to get rid of covetousness. But then you desire what others have. You desire his faith. So let's see. Yeah, so 2d6 plus soul.
Yeah, I think more than anything, Solinus desires Cadoc's lifetime of believing in this thing that clearly has power over him now. You know, well, if it was anything but plus soul, I would have passed that. But because it's plus soul, I have failed.
Oh my goodness me! So, so on a 6+, again, it's like you've had the conversation, but it somehow went past in the night.
No, it's it does give him so much to think about, and it's I think it's that, how could this is what a warrior of God is like, if this is what God wants Solinus to be, then can he ever live up to that? Like Cadoc spoke all of those stories and that scripture with such belief and conviction and with such detail, the kind of detail that you only get when you've been, raised up in a monastery.
I'm looking along the other temptations. We have a burden which is unshiftable. Oh, and have you just cleared a debt to your god and taken wrath, Black
Indeed,
Jell?
I have. Yeah.
Is that because you now want to try and work out that wrath with somebody, or are you just wanting to be wrathful for a bit?
No, let's try and clear that.
Who do you approach for a conversation? One of the characters or one of the people you meet on the road?
Yeah, one of the people we meet on the road.
Yeah, because they are Saxons, so there's a connection there.
Yeah, I've got a connection with them.
And man, woman, warrior, non-warrior. Just give me a quick pen picture.
I think a non-warrior male I sort of shoulder barge into, and then claim he did it to me, even though he was non-moving. So yeah, that's it.
What, my friend? What on earth? What ails you?
Nothing ails me. Something ails you. Can't even see where you're going. I've got more vision than you. Look at my eyes.
And let's see how that conversation turns then. So roll plus soul, Black Jell.
Will, 2 dice, please, my friend.
That looks like is that a new 3 and a 4, or was that the original 3 and a 4? Okay.
I haven't rolled it yet.
Oh, all right.
Well, you wish I hadn't, because I rolled a 4.
Oh well.
Don't clear it. Yeah. I mean, it turns into argy bargy. Nothing serious, but you remain filled with wrath. So much for that then. None of you. Go on.
I was just gonna say, I know I don't have a temptation, but I still have a terrible thing that I need to narrate at some point.
Oh, go on. So who do you want to talk? Who do you want to talk to?
Oh, do I have to talk to someone to narrate a terrible thing?
I was going to wait for your terrible thing until you were at the next settlement.
Oh, okay, let's do that. Okay, fine.
Yeah, because otherwise I might end up doing it again. And there's only so many terrible things. I know you got one prepared though.
I mean, it depends on whether that terrible thing happens to one of those people you meet on the road, right?
I think it's a flashback terrible thing, I think is what you've got in mind, haven't you, Jose?
Yeah, it's a flashback. Yeah.
So we move straight on from there then. They go their own way. You head up into the hill country, where you come across your next settlement. And we're back at signs and portents. I will name it. Hang on, I need to get my new settlement down. There we go. Oops, daisy. This is the settlement. Hang on, I can't spell it. Malevolent. And I put it down there near the common moves. So if you want to try and, in fact, let me move it a bit further down.
Celtic one more question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Before we arrive there, is there any way I could get a healing on the road, or should I wait until we're at?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to flip back to leaving. You've always got the option at the point before you leave the settlement to either ask your god for some help or play a move.
Yeah.
So that's the question I think you're putting on the table.
Yeah. I would ask Solinus actually, because he told me on the road that he could do something like that, and I might I don't know.
why don't we, despite how these interactions played in our minds later on, depriving us of those that solace, why don't we pray together on it? And
Yes.
that was part of after you told me all those things, you led me through a proper prayer, as opposed to just getting on your knees and saying a few things that you think you're supposed to.
Mhm.
So let's have Solinus roll with favor then.
I've got so much favor. Oh, -1. Again, would have passed if it wasn't for.
Well, I mean, I am prepared for Cadoc to chip in here because
Wow.
you are praying together.
Sure, let's make this worse.
It is going to be soul though, Cadoc.
I know. It's fine. I can do a soul.
To
I mean,
help.
I probably can, but no, I can't. It's a 2. It's a 3. No, it's a 2. It's a 3. Because I'm
Okay,
still
so
offline. No.
nothing gets worse apart from all of you are sucked into the negativity.
I'm still
So
dying.
yeah, you are. You're still not well.
Well, now we know why we both don't find solace in our faith together, right? Because
God does not bless this.
yeah. And you say something about it being the a test, the burden that we have to carry, and Solinus is just thinking like, good Lord.
I'm going to make each of you mark wearied, because clearly carrying these wounds is tiring you. So as well as leaving those dyings in place, you also add 1 to the top of the track on wearied. Oh wow, you either 10s or 6s tonight. It seems to be there's no in between ground. So yeah, I'm going to suggest it is 10 past the hour. Is 5 minutes long enough this time? Fine. Back in our seats at 1:15. See you then. I've rethought the name because Mairllyn is quite difficult to say. So I've rethought the name of the settlement that you are approaching as Caisesta, which I think everyone will be much happier with. But we're not going to define that today because we know that one of the players is having to go away, and then we'll come back at a later date. So Solinus, you are not going to reach this new settlement this next time. So how do you want to kind of epilogue that break in our series? Why is Solinus heading off?
I am going to say that Solinus is troubled by Cadoc's what would it be called? Like all of the formality of everything in of the church, all of the things. If is the reason that God is no longer answering me is because I don't have these trappings, these this education. Who was it who taught Cadoc to be a sword of God and so clear in purpose? Cadoc would never steal. Would never have hurt people like Solinus has. I mean, sure, he certainly seems to hurt a fair few other people, but his hands. Is it possible to kill and feel clean about it in the name of God? And so I think Solinus is going to head to the monastery where Cadoc has been spent the whole night telling him about. Perhaps you simply awake one morning to I don't know what literacy is like at this time.
No? My guess is most of you don't read and write, but
No.
you know.
Yeah.
No, I can identify letters. I can write my name.
Yeah. I think that that we will just cut after the prayers, and with Solinus saying, "You're giving much to think about, Cadoc. You are certainly raised by a wise in the faith, in the ways of God, by a wise man who's given you such strength that I desperately need. You've given me much to think on, and I think that the only person that he'll even have any interaction with is, you know what? I'll have an interaction with Fynn as we in the early hours of the morning, and just say like, Fynn, you're a good man. Don't let the beast inside you rule you, as it ruled me most of my life. I hope the fates bring our paths together, my friend.
Travel well. Come back to us, Solinus.
And I look over at Black Jell, and I say, I bet you'll be up to 22x by the time I'm back.
In here, I will. Yes, yes.
You see, burring. Yeah.
See you, my friend. Bring back the eggs.
And walk into the dark. Great. Okay. Well, I think that is where we will tie up this session. We'll kick off next time because we've got a replacement player coming in with a new character. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So as Solinus is walking away, and Fynn knows that he's going to seek Christian solace somewhere, I think, is it okay if I do a short flashback here for the terrible thing?
Always worth getting a terrible thing sorted out.
Sorted out before we go. And then so we see a short flashback, and there's like the darkened interior of a small Christian church, and a handful of monks are gathered for vespers. And as the camera pans through the aisles, we see a pair of eyes glowing red in the shadows. And then Fynn leaps out in his were form, and he starts terrorizing the assemblage and shattering pews and wreaking havoc. And the brothers cower as he leaps on the altar and smashes the tabernacle. And then the abbot steps forward, brandishing his cross, and he's shakily reciting some words of exorcism, deprecare derum pacis. And Fynn hesitates for a moment, and his eyes seem to lose focus. And then a terrifying vision of the horn god rises behind him, tinted red like the setting sun and towering over the assemblage. And the abbot falters, and the floorboards of the chapel buckle as tree roots begin to break through from below. And Fynn howls, and he strikes out with his claws and rips the abbot's throat out. And then he bounds through the shower of blood and out the chapel doors into the night. Terrible.
Thank you for that terrible thing. Terrible, but wonderful on television. Love that. Thank you. So yeah, we're going to tie this session up there, and we'll start the settlement creation next time. So let me just pause the recording. Oh no, sorry, we've got end of session experience. So let's just go. Let's go left to right again. So Black Jell, helped yourself by voting your calling. I don't think you did.
Nope.
Complicated by things by telling an uncomfortable truth. You did do that. If there'd been more interaction, you'd have been at disadvantage as a result, but I'll give you the benefit of that one. And you certainly consistently address challenges with a rationality. So that's 2 XP for you. Moving along to Solinus. You did invoke your calling. Did you complicate things by cheating or stealing in a good cause?
No, it was more of a straight up fight, wasn't it? Really, to be honest.
Yeah. You are rather too good. And did you address a challenge with guile? I'm going to give you guile because
Okay.
I think the approach of convincing Kai to convince the others because you knew you couldn't convince them yourselves. I think that was quite a cunning plan.
Cool. And I've realized that I haven't been marking my my subtle steel, sense, and soul, but it occurs to me that I filled those up at the start of the session.
You
and
did.
I have rolled all of them during the session, thanks to repeated uses of the soul at the end, which didn't go anywhere.
So what does that place you in terms of
Pushing 3 experience overall, which means that I'm 3 experience away from perhaps something that I might pick up while I'm at a monastery somewhere, right?
Perhaps so. Let's hope our arriving player doesn't choose to be a priest of God. Moving along to our sword of God, Cadoc. You did invoke your calling, I think.
Yep. I did.
Complicated by confronting a threat to the innocent.
I mean, I complicated things maybe by confronting the thing that was harassing the lady.
Yes,
Because I didn't attack with my sword, but I attacked with my faith. That is
you did.
probably more
I give you the benefit of
complicated.
that one.
Okay. Cool.
And again, quite courageously, even though wounded and wounded unto death,
Yeah.
charging at those two warriors. So I think
Yep.
you can have all three.
Yep.
Which means I think that you've got 6. You can clear them and choose an improvement.
Okay.
And finally, Fynn, did you invoke your calling on mortal seeming today?
Yes, I finally did.
Yes, you did. Your burden of longing, did that complicate things for you today?
The only thing that it might have complicated is, but I would have done it anyways, is the longing for Cadoc, the jumping in to save him. But I don't think that it kind of brought it to a head. So I'm going to
Fair point. Fair
leave
point.
that one unmarked.
But loads of aggression and violence as a solution to every problem.
Sure. That
Yeah,
worked.
so you can have 2 out of that, and so that's our end of session experience. A quick stars and wishes while we're at it. Just get my piece of paper ready. Okay, in the order I can see you. Jose, any stars, any wishes for next time or further away?
Let's see. Will, I'm sorry that we had to like snip out that thing where you force the obnoxious storyteller to use his big mouth in the service of something good, because it was such a great scene. And I'm sorry you backpedaled on it for obvious reasons. But yeah, in general, stars to everybody. I mean, I had a really good time. And normally I don't have such great times in a battle scene or epic battle scene, but that was a lot of fun, and it was very unpredictable the way it was going to go. So thank you for everyone for contributing to that. And wishes, well, I'm curious to see how David's going to integrate into the group and how he's going to arrive with us, and what he'll choose. And I'm also curious to see when Solinus comes back, what he will how he will have changed. So yeah, that's all
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, there ought to be a change of playbook, but it's not quite time for that yet. So that's all good. Thank you very much. What about Paul? Paul, any stars, any wishes?
I thought the battle scene was really good and varied. Lots of different moves being used. It wasn't just hack by anybody. I don't think there really. I thought it was really good. I liked Will's sort of help. He did a lot of helping out people. I thought that was because he could have gone down the hack route. He's got some good skills in there, but he was really helpful. And Sabine leading the 2 off, even though the character was pretty nagged. I thought that's pretty courageous. And Jose, I thought all the stuff with Fynn going off at the end, you could have. I think that sort of put you a bit disadvantaged there, but it was good that you leaped into it. Seeing where there was a lot of RP. Wishes. The return of Magnus.
You want Mangus to be a returning nemesis.
I like a returning baddie. That adds quite a bit.
Yeah. Fine. Did you let him go with that in mind? I'm curious. Or
No,
is that
that was completely irrational. But I was just thinking about it now. I just thought that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to take an XP back if that was a rational move, but
it wasn't at all.
Will, any stars, any wishes?
I really enjoyed the Black Jell that did act like a complete lunatic. And we just said, what happened to Mangus? Oh, he said he believed in God, so he must have been a good bloke. And then just which I think is perfect. Cadoc being in a jousting session with someone, I thought that was cool. If I wasn't trying to do some last minute playing up the rogue and killing people with sharp objects, I would have just said, and if Cadoc wasn't nearly dead, I would have said, Cadoc, you not just want to wheel around and we can see that clash cinematic style. But I like the idea of him just going, what? anticlimax. And Fynn wolfing out. I thought it always adds instant werewolf is always a great addition to any scene of battle and confusion and chaos, right? And Alan, pacing that whole thing, a big climax with, and I always like it when it's not a clear cut victory here, right? Like we stopped whatever's going on in that village, but we don't know if Mangus had any allegiances to anything greater than himself. We never got like the villain exposition style. We have our theory, and that explains the details, but not the what was the actual game here in terms of this pagan power seizing the symbols of and respect the authority of Christian faith in this kingdom. And I am glad that Mangus is going to return as according to Paul's wish, because that would be my wish, would be to have some sort of like, he's out there somewhere, even if it's just this is what happened to him,
Rumors spread.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Wishes wise, nothing in particular. I'm curious. I have a mechanics question about the harm that can wait until the end.
Okay. Any stars, any wishes, Sabine?
Yeah, lots of stars, and maybe some wishes. I'm still thinking, which I should have done before, but I didn't. So stars to all of you, to Fynn and his terrible scene. I love terrible scenes. And also werewolf. In addition, the werewolf attack was very good at the guys who were attacking Cadoc. I like that a lot. And stars to Black Jell for letting the priest go, sure, ambling about aimlessly in the middle of a fight. That is always great to see what shenanigans he comes up with. And I really like the heart-to-heart I had with Solinus, even though the dice didn't like us. I think it was fairly good. It was a pretty good scene. Ties me into a wish. I wish for more scenes like that. I'm very curious what David's going to play. And also I would wish for Mangus. He's an enemy of the god, right? He needs to come back. That is pretty clearly fate. So yeah.
Even if God is convinced, you really should have protected him.
Yeah, I need to figure out why God wanted me to protect him.
What's going on there?
Something is going on there. Yes.
I endorse all of those stars. Thank you for indulging me. In part, the dice indulged me in having quite an extended climactic scene there. So you weren't able to finish it in a hurry. But also the creativity you all brought to that, because I think you're right. It wasn't just hit. It was how do I move from here to there? How do I overcome that defense? Whatever. That was great. Thank you very much.
There were a lot of moving parts in that fight.
There were.
Yes.
And I wish that somehow Najad should come back, because Paul, I'm not sure everyone around the table knows what Najad means. So I think that Nadgering needs to be something that the Black Jell makes more use of. But with that, I will pause the recording.